The laughter was the worst part. It wasn't the sharp, singular laugh of a joke, but a constant, low-grade soundtrack to my life from 7th grade onward. It followed me down hallways, echoed from the back of the bus, and seeped under my bedroom door at night. Mark and his crew, they weren't just bullies. They were architects of my misery, and they had built a prison for me out of sneers and shoves and that goddamn laughter. It started small. A stolen lunch bag, a trip in the cafeteria that sent my tray clattering. Then it evolved. My locker was defaced, with words that carved deeper than the marker could. My gym clothes would mysteriously end up in the shower. They'd mock my secondhand sneakers, my quietness, the way I flinched when someone moved too fast. I was their favorite pastime, a living, breathing stress ball. My parents saw the withdrawn grades, the sullen silence. Just ignore them. Alex, my mom would say, her eyes full of a helpless love. They'll get bored. But they didn't. They fed on my silence. I tried the school counselor once. A week later, the bullying intensified. Now laced with a new threat. Snitches. Get stitches. Loser. So I learned the only lesson that seemed to matter. Endure. I built a shell around myself. A numb, hollow thing that just had to make it to graduation. The turning point, the moment the numbness cracked and something hot and sharp poured in, was my 17th birthday. My dad, trying his best, had saved up and bought me a vintage silver watch. It wasn't flashy, but it was elegant, with a worn leather strap. It made me feel for the first time in years, like I had a piece of something that was truly, solidly me. Mark spotted it. The next day, "Oh, look at the rich boy," he'd sneered, grabbing my wrist. His friends circled us. The hallway, as always, was a river of people flowing past, eyes averted. Let's see if it tells the right time. He yanked it off. I pleaded, my voice a pathetic whisper. He just laughed, that laugh, held it up to his ear, and then, with a deliberate, cruel smile, he dropped it on the linoleum floor and brought his heel down on the glass face. The crunch was sickeningly final. He kicked the shattered pieces toward me. Looks like time's up. I knelt there, gathering the broken bits of metal and glass, my vision blurring. It wasn't about the watch anymore. It was about the last shred of my dignity being ground under his heel. That night, staring at the fragments on my desk, the cold, hard kernel of an idea began to form in the pit of my stomach. Revenge. Not a fistfight I would inevitably lose. Not another useless report. Something else. Something permanent. I realized their weakness. Mark's father was a local big shot, running for city council on a platform of family values and community integrity. Mark was his poster child, the clean-cut, star athlete son featured in all his campaign literature. But I knew the real Mark. And I knew that in the digital age, nothing ever truly disappears. I became a ghost. I spent months in the deep, silent corners of the internet, the private forums and social media groups where they felt safe to be their true, vile selves. I created fake profiles, built up a digital disguise, and slowly, patiently, I infiltrated their circle. I was just another bro, laughing at their edgy memes, egging them on. I became their digital confidant. And they talked. Oh, how they talked. They bragged about the tests they'd cheated on, the parties they'd crashed, the girls they'd harassed. They shared videos they'd taken of their pranks, including a close-up video of Mark himself, laughing as he keyed the teacher's car that had given him a detention. They were so arrogant, so convinced of their own invincibility, they never once questioned the digital shadow I'd become. I collected it all. Every screenshot, every video, every vile comment. I compiled it into a digital dossier more damning than any police report. I had dates, times, their own words and faces condemning them. The cheating alone would get them expelled. The vandalism was a criminal offense. But it was the sheer, unadulterated ugliness of it all that was the real weapon. The night of the big town hall debate, the one that was supposed to cement Mr. Henderson's lead in the polls, I felt a calm I hadn't known in years. My heart wasn't racing. It was a steady, cold drumbeat. My family was in the living room, watching the event on local TV. I excused myself to my bedroom, my laptop glowing in the dark. On screen, Mark's father was at the podium, his family arrayed behind him. Mark was there, wearing a crisp suit, his face a mask of wholesome support. He looked the part, the perfect son. My cursor hovered over the encrypted file. With one click, I sent it to every major local news outlet, the school board, the principal, every parent-teacher email list I could find, and the Twitter accounts of his father's political opponents. The subject line was simple: the Henderson family values. I walked back to the living room and sat down just as my parents' news broadcast cut to a breaking news alert. The anchor's face was stern. We are receiving shocking developments in the city council race regarding candidate Robert Henderson. They began to show the clips, the video of Mark keying the car, screenshots of the racist and misogynistic chats, photos of the vandalism. My parents gasped. "My God," my dad muttered. "Is that Mark Henderson?" I watched as, on the split screen, the live feed from the town hall showed a campaign aide rushing to the podium, whispering frantically into Mr. Henderson's ear. I saw the color drain from his face. I saw him turn, his eyes locking not with the camera, but with his son. The look on his face wasn't just anger. It was a total, gut-wrenching collapse. He knew it was over. Then the camera found Mark. The smug, polished mask was gone, replaced by a wide-eyed, panicked confusion. He saw the screens in the hall. He saw his own face, his own cruelty, broadcast for the entire town to see. He was exposed, truly, completely, and forever exposed. The laughter was finally, blessedly, silent. The fallout was swift and brutal. Mark and his friends were expelled. The police got involved. His father dropped out of the race in disgrace, his political career ashes. The community that had once looked the other way was now a mob of outrage, their hypocrisy laid bare. I never said a word. I just went to school, collected my diploma, and moved on. The shell I had built was no longer for protection. It was a quiet fortress. I hadn't fought him with fists, but with the one thing he thought he controlled, his own reputation. I hadn't broken his bones. I had broken his legacy. Sometimes, justice isn't about a judge's gavel. It's the sound of a reputation shattering into a million silent pieces.